we all eat food, and food comes from agriculture sources and animal sources, and most of the food comes in raw form, and that has to be cooked to be consumed. So, today we are going to learn different methods of cooking. All over the world, food is cooked by different methods to prepare delicious dishes. Various kinds of method, from boiling to baking, they are cooked in a different ways. Various ingredients are used. They provide different texture, taste and flavor, and color and appearance is also very important. Let us see in this chapter what are the things we are going to use for cooking different foods and what are the advantages for cooking the food. I am Dr. Anjana Agarwal, who is going to talk about on this issue. The objective of this lesson are the importance of cooking food, the classification of various methods of cooking, process of each method of cooking, unconventional methods of cooking, and the very important thing which we keep on ignoring, the effect of cooking on various nutrients and the ways of enhancing the nutritive value of food. We cook the food only for the taste most of the time, but the nutrition is often ignored, and if we cook the food at high heat or for prolonged time, then nutrition is lost. So, let us see in this lesson how we can preserve this. What is cooking? Cooking is an activity to prepare the food ready for the consumption. Cooking is an art. As you can see here, the person is just rowing the handle to cook the food in a vessel. In another picture you are seeing it is a science. In this you will see how the fluid is coming up cooking, and this is a kind of percolation, and at down this a heat is given. What is the advantage of cooking? Cooking brings several physical, chemical, nutritional and sensory changes. Let us see, the dough is kneaded. So, this raw form will be changed into the dough, and this dough will be turned into some kind of preparation, cookies, and you will get the ready-made cookies which finally. So, you can see here from the raw flour you are making the cookies here which you will consume, and that is only because of the cooking. Cooking alters the taste, appearance, texture, nutritive quality and safety of the cooked food. We will learn more about how the cooking gives the safety to the food, because it kills the germs present in the food. Another advantage, if you eat the raw food, if you think of this, if you are eating whole of the day the raw food, the pulses you cannot eat in the raw form. You do something or the other to consume in a better way. So, why? Because if you consume the cooked food, this will help you to release the digestive juices, that will help you to digest the food, and that is why the cooking is done. Here cooking gives you the brightness, the color, appearance, and if you see the any kind of plate decorated with good amount of icing or your seasoning, spices, foaming, that attracts you to eat the food. That is the role of cooking. Then, as I said earlier also, the cooking improves the keeping quality of the food by destroying the harmful microorganism naturally present in the food. So, here this heat is giving, and with this heat whatever present the microorganism will be killed, and this food is ready and safe for the consumption. Now, we will come to the main issue, methods of cooking. this is a classification. What we use for cooking? We use normally 3 medium. One is air, second is water, and third is oil or fats. So, when we use the water for cooking in presence of heat, the word is used moist heat method. The other is dry heat method. That means during cooking heat is there, but water is not there. In presence of air we do the cooking, or in the environment of hot air the cooking is done. In this only we also use, instead of water or air, the oil, and that is called frying. That can be of various types, but in certain times we combine 2 methods, and that we can also use the word combination. Let us see in this slide what are different types of moist heat method and dry heat method and the combination. In moist heat, as I said, uses the water, which includes the boiling, steaming, pressure cooking, stewing, simmering or poaching. In dry heat, we use the baking, roasting, grilling, and when we use the oil in the dry heat, it is called frying, and that can be of various types: sauteing, shallow frying, deep fat frying. In combination, the braising is also done. First, we are just showing here the different types of moist cooking methods. This is boiling, this is steaming, you can easily see, this is simmering, and this is steaming or pressure cooking. When from the whistle the steam is coming out. First, we will talk the moist heat cooking method. As I said, moist means water. Cooking involves the water, and it is generally used to cook dal, rice, gravy, soups, vegetables, etc. In some food item, the moisture content of the food itself is very high. For example, of green leafy vegetables like spinach, fenugreek and other things, they do not need extra water to cook the food, or a small amount of water can be used to make vegetable or food preparation. But in some cases, when the food itself does not contain more amount of water like pulses, rice, then you need more amount of water for cooking. Now, we will go one by one each of the method. What are the importance, what are the advantages and disadvantages. Boiling is most popular and relatively easy method of cooking. In this, the food is immersed into the hot water, preferably the hot water. Food is put into it, heat is given. Till then the food gets softened, and with addition of spices, salt and other things, the sugar can also be added. This changes the final product after the boiling. What are the care to be taken? Preferably take the hot water, but when you immerse, take care, because it produces the steam and your hand can be burned. So, slowly you need to add the food into the hot water. Then what had? You must have the fitted lid to it, but in some cases, particularly the milk, when you boil the milk and you do not have the watch over it, then it can spill out. The water present in the vessel in which you are boiling the food item should be checked regularly. If that water is evaporated, then the food can be burned. Or while boiling potato or any other root vegetables should be boiled in the skin. As you can see in this picture, the skin is there, and after peeling the potato looks like this. And you can boil the food items till it gets softens, and the temperature of boiling water is 100 degrees centigrade. What are the advantages and disadvantages? Boiling is safe and simple. Burning is rare because the water is present there. It is also suitable for the large scale cooking. It is cheap also, and food is more and easily digested, and it is good for the infants, elders and sick people. Disadvantage, because the water is there, so the water soluble nutrients are lost, and sometimes people do not like the boiled food because it gives the bland taste. So, you need the seasoning or addition of spices by various means to give the flavor to the boiled food. Now, we will come to the another slide or type of cooking method, that is called stewing. Stewing is basically a very simple low heat method in which the flavor of the food comes out in the water and mixes with the, and water and the food both are eaten together, or sometimes some spices are added into the water and the food is given. With the process of osmosis, the spices in the water that goes inside the, and that enhance the nutritive value and the flavor of the food item. Many times pears and the apples are stewed in, they are cooked in the water in which some spices like cinnamon, cloves are added to it, and that flavor is reached to the fruit and that you like it very much. This is a slow cooking method. Next is simmering. See, in this also it is like this stewing, juices of the food are retained in the gravy. When you cook the gravy, do not you think you can then cook, then keep the flame low and keep on simmering on the low fire, that will exchange the flavor with the in the gravy and the food, and you will like that food made by the simmering method much more than the boiling method. Disadvantage is only one, that takes longer to cook. Now, we come to the steaming method, that is also very safe and gives the more amount of nutrients and more amount of the flavor, but it is the temperature is very high. You may not get the burning due to the boiling, but you may get the burning due to the steaming, because the temperature is high. The food is cooked with the heat from the water vapors, as I showed you earlier how the pressure cooking is working. I will come little later with the pressure cooking also. The food is kept in the small container. There are two methods. Sometimes you boil the water in a large vessel, then you put the food into the small vessel. The small vessel is kept inside the bigger vessel and lid is closed and the heat is given. You think of the making of the idli, how they are doing. You think of the making of the dhokla, they are put in the larger vessel and the food is cooked and that becomes very soft. Let us see the advantages. Cooking is faster, it conserves the nutrient, gives the good color, flavor and palatability. Steaming is light, nutritious and easy, and it is very good for infants, elders, sick and the people with weak digestion. When you go to a doctor, he will say that eat the steamed food. So, it will give you the flavor also and it will be easy to digest also, but it needs a bigger container, inside container. Idli cannot be cooked without the special mold. So, that is why sometimes it needs the special container. And let us come to the advanced version of stewing, how we can do it. I will say the advanced version, because in pressure cooking the food is cooked in the steam, but under pressure. Pressure cooking involves both boiling and steaming. Special pressure cooker is required and it is generally made of the steel and the other aluminum and other metals, because it can withstand the pressure inside the container. And why it is important? Because if the vessel is not good enough, I have seen various injuries to happen and there is a different altogether issues, but that metal is very important for the pressure cooking. So, we must choose the pressure cooker with high care and seeing the all labels and all these things. What are the advantages? It is safe, nutritious and tasty. Kills most of the microorganisms. It takes 1/3 of the time than the boiling. So, it saves the fuel and preserves the nutrient, and in one way only, by using the separate, variety of foods can be cooked at one time only. Disadvantages: the pressure cooker itself is a special vessel, so it is little costly, and where the knowledge to use the cooker is also important to avoid the injury. And where is the why this has been shown? Because this sealing ring has to be good. This is a valve here and this is a pipe and the vessel. If these things are not working properly, they can spread and the whole things comes out, and person standing or sitting around can be injured. Now, we will talk about the cooking by dry heat. As I told you, dry heat means hot air. In dry heat, cooking food is exposed to heated air in closed or open chamber like tawa or oven. Temperature may reach as high as 2-3 times of the boiling. The food may contain some liquids through batter or dough, that is the moisture exposed to the hot air facilitates the cooking that provides the softness. Chapatis, roasted, chana, bread, buns, cakes. You may be thinking so many good things which you lure to eat. You get fascinated by all these things are cooked by the dry heat methods, and which includes normally the roasting, baking and grilling. What is roasting? Roasting is done by putting the raw food directly or in any hot surface in kadhai and any other things, and heat is given from the below, and it is done with and without sand, like when you roast the chana, then it is done in the thing and you make sattu out of it. So, various things are there, you roast the things. I will show you some of the pictures. Here you can see the seeds are being roasted in the kadhai. Here you can see the simple papad, which is very popular in our country, is directly roasted on the direct flame. This chapati is being roasted on tawa, and here the most popular activity is done in most of the household is roasting of the suji. Roasting not only cooks the food, but it brings major changes in the taste, flavor and the texture, and also improves the nutritional value and digestibility of the food. You can easily understand the advantages and disadvantages. It adds variety to the meal. It increases the shelf life. Many a times, like when you roast this chana or the any other pulse, for some people it becomes hard to chew also. It is a slow cooking method. It is a baking. The food is cooked or baked in dry hot air in a closed airtight container called oven. By now everybody knows that bread is baked in the oven, biscuits and cakes are baked in the oven, and variety of household methods are being improved and developed to design the oven without the electricity. But in commercial market we find oven is a costly affair also, and it is most of the time electric, which further add the cost to the oven or the baking at home. So, baked material when we buy from the market is relatively cheaper if you try to bake the bread and the biscuits at home. So, the cost of the oven and the electricity sometimes become much more higher. Baking is done at the temperature more than this. So, this is not the, this is a wrong sign here, it is more than 140 because the centigrade has not been put up. So, it has become 0. So, it is more than 140 degrees centigrade only. So, they are used to bake variety of vegetarian and non-vegetarian dishes. Advantages: it adds variety to your meal, kills the microorganisms, keeps the food safe and longer shelf life. You also need variety of skills to bake the product. Bakery classes are there, because you cannot bake the things as you are making the chapatis and dal. You need to learn some of the baking skills because the proportion of the ingredient and the steps of the baking are little different. So, it requires the special skill to bake any product, and it is a costly things also and takes time. Now, we will come to the another method is grilling, that is also a dry heat cooking method. Grilling, the food cooked in an iron grid over a glowing fire uses more indirect heat, and heat can be given by the coal, gas or electric medium also. Electric grill bars are there and they are brushed with the oil to prevent the food sticking. The food is cooked on both sides to give the distinct flavor. Many times, particularly in the non-vegetarian dish, the grilling is very popular. People like to consume the grilled fish because in that the fire is direct and the food absorbs the fire and releases the juices and the flavor that gives distinct flavor to the food. Here you can see how they are grilling and the ready-made grilled food is available. Now, we will come to the very appetizing method of cooking is frying. Let us see what are the options available. Sauteing, shallow frying and deep frying. We will learn one by one. This is sauteing. This is shallow frying, which is usually done on tawa, like you make the paratha, and when you fry in the lots of oil is put in a kadhai and in which you put the food inside it and keep giving the fire from the below and your food is cooked. Here you can see the popular Indian snack samosa frying here. The shallow frying food is cooked in a small amount of oil, maybe 1 teaspoon is enough. Then you can be done on the pan and tawa. And nowadays you are also having the non-sticking pan and tawa, parathas, tikkis, etc. are cooked by this. This imparts the crispness and the taste and also the appearance, good appearance to the food. When we use the deep frying, as I just now told you, is a very appetizing way of cooking the food, but it needs some of the skill and some of the safety also. Deep frying is carried out by dropping the food in a well heated ghee oil in a kadhai. The food should be fully dipped in ghee or oil. Fried foods like samosa, cutlets, pakoras, kachoris, etc. They are tasty, crispy and flavorful as compared to the food cooked by other methods. When we use the oil for frying, whether it is sauteing, whether it is shallow frying or whether it is deep frying, the oil is hot. So, we have to be very careful because the hot oil can give you the injuries. So, let us see how we can do it. Food should be cut in small even size pieces to ensure the even cooking. Oil or ghee should be heated well. Add the few pieces of food in the hot oil in the beginning to test the heatness of the oil, or just fried food should be placed on a clean absorbent kitchen napkin or the brown paper. So, these are the some of the precautions you should take while deep frying the food. In continuation, few more things you should keep in mind. Remove the leftover or the small particles from the oil to avoid the burning of the next batch or the spoilage of fat. Overheating of the ghee can also spoil the color and taste and texture of the food, and eventually it will burn the food. And avoid repeated use of the same oil for frying. I will just explain a bit more here. When we are talking about the removing the small particles from the oil, because these particles are already burned or will get burned in the next batch. If these particles remain in the oil, they will spoil the food faster. Number 1. Number 2, if oil get more concentrated or darken in color, that means the oil should be discarded, should not be used for consumption. If it is used, that will be very harmful to your health, particularly your liver and other digestive organs. You might be seeing when you are eating the fried food from the outside, you are feeling that your stomach is getting upset, and because of these reasons, because these people may be using the oil again and again, and which is harmful, develop some kind of toxic components, and that is not good for the health. Now, let us see what are the advantage of the frying. Like it provides a taste, it provides a variety, and it gives the longer shelf life. A disadvantage, it is dangerous if something spill out the hot oil on the skin. It can burn the skin very badly, and skill is also required, caution is also required, and it increases the calorie content of the food. Now, we will come to the newer upcoming advanced method of cooking, microwave cooking. Microwave cooking is faster, in which cooking is done with the use of water molecule present in the food, and a special kind of rod is put inside the microwave oven, and that cooks the food. In the picture you are seeing the food kept in a glass, which is circular glass in the inside the oven, keeps circulating, and from sides of the microwave oven the microwave radiations is coming inside the food, and which cooks the food within no time. Certain precautions again needed. Every metal cannot be used. Using the microwave for cooking or heating the food, you have to use either the glass or paper. Plastic can be used, but should not be used, because when the plastic is used, it releases certain kinds of chemicals which is harmful to the body. Advantage of microwave oven is quick method. It retains the original color. Sometimes it is very advantageous and sometimes not. When you cook the vegetable like capsicum, tomatoes, very colorful vegetables, if you cook them in the microwave oven, they will remain as such. But the same thing is disadvantageous if you bake the cake inside the microwave oven, that will remain the color of the dough itself or the white itself. So, that does not look good. So, that becomes a disadvantage in that case. Microwave itself is costly and need a special kind of container. Now, we come to another method developed for the far-fetched area where the fuel is scarce, but solar light is more than enough, where the economy is also used, and they have developed a solar cooking. In today's world, solar energy is used for variety of things, not only for the cooking. What is this? Sunlight or the sun heat is used to cook the food, where cooking fuel is scarce. Hence, the name is solar cooking. In order to trap the sun heat, a special box is designed which has the black color inside and the mirror and the glass on the lid. Here you can see this solar cooker. This design will show you they keep shifting the solar cooker from wherever the sunlight is trapped to cook the food. Solar cooker is smokeless, low maintenance cost, no running cost, and environment friendly. Only disadvantage is it requires a special kind of thing. It requires the sun. In the night the cooking cannot be done. In the rainy season cooking is difficult. These are some of the sources of the nutrient loss. Now, we will come to the altogether different section of the lesson. Loss of nutrient, how we can prevent them, and what are the factors which increases the loss, and what are the things by which we can prevent the loss, and how we can enhance the nutritive value of the food. These are the things: nutrient content, moisture content, heat, air, light, milling, frequent washing, soaking for longer time, physical nature of the food, and the microorganism, and using the chemicals. This slide you will see the gradation in the loss of nutrient, which is done by the presence of heat, air, and the light. Maximum amount of nutrient loss is seen in the vitamin C, then less is vitamin B, then fats and oil, then vitamin A, protein, and minerals are least in the loss. Here are some picture how vitamins are easily lost. During deep frying, vitamin A is lost. When you keep on washing the rice, the vitamin B is lost because it is a vital-soluble vitamin, and when you small cut the vegetables, then vitamin C is lost. Here again, when you put the milk under the sun or under a window, particularly vitamin B2 riboflavin is destroyed. When you add the soda to soak the pulses or cook the pulses, vitamin B1 or thiamine is lost. So, there are certain methods to increase the nutrient content, and the method is called food enrichment. It not only increases the nutrient content, but also fulfill the nutritional requirement of the people. It gives the flavor and texture, it gives the variety and assist in meal planning. Let us see what are the methods of food enrichment. This is fermentation. You can see the overflowing of the batter prepared for the idli. Then you can see the combination. Here the rice and the pulses are mixed together. Then you can see the germination. These are three popular methods which are used for food enrichments. Now we will learn one by one. Combination means we are using two types of food item from two food groups. When we mix together, both the things, nutrient content of two foods are mixed together and enhances the nutrient content or nutritional quality of the food. It not only helps in increasing the nutrient content, but also improve your taste and the flavor, and it is the very cheap method of increasing the nutritional value of the food or helping to make the diet balanced diet. Fermentation is another method. Here you will see the dough is freshly made, but when we keep for fermentation, it gets more than double in size. So, fermentation basically is a chemical process which is induced by either self with the time, or when sometimes the culture is added to it, or in the form of microorganisms, or the culture has the microorganism. When they are adding to it, then it starts fermenting. Simple example is curd. You add the starter in the milk, then it turns into the curd. So, the chemical nature is changed altogether during fermentation. It produces the gas and it doubles in the quantity, and here are some of the fermented food preparations. The advantages are very easy to digest, easy to chew, and improves the digestibility, but major disadvantages, it requires the pre-planning. Let us see the germination. Here I am giving you the simple example how you can do the germination, the process. Whole seeds are always used. Germination cannot be done in the dehulled seeds or the dehusked dal. It has to be, because germination is a process where the seed convert into a plant through lots of physiological and chemical changes occurring inside the seed. So, at home what we do it? This is an example of simple whole moong, which is soaked for in large amount of water for several hours, then tied in the cloth. Here make the potli, keep it in the dark, and then after few days, maybe different pulses, different seeds take different timings to sprout, and these are this vitamin C is increased. This is a process during the germination. This vitamin C is synthesized. Some of the nutrients, particularly some of the minerals like calcium, zinc, are bounded form, but when you germinate the seed, they are released and they are available for the body. Easy to cook and gives a variety. Sometimes if you steam the germination seed, it is very tasty, gives the crunch, and you can also use the raw form also, but should be avoided. And water is also important here. When you germinate the seed, use the safe drinking water for the germination also. A disadvantage again the same as fermentation, pre-preparation is required because over the night germination may not be possible. In this lesson, you have studied the importance of cooking, because raw food cannot be consumed, it needs to be digested and used by the body, and there are variety of cooking methods you have learned here, individual methods, what are the advantages and disadvantages, and you have also learned a very good things, how to prevent the loss of nutrient and what are the factors which can increase the loss of nutrient. And you have learned the methods of food enrichment like fermentation, combination and the germination, by which you can increase the nutritive value of the food. Thank you so much.